October is the month of Halloween, celebrating the season of fall, as well as commemorating breast cancer awareness. But for an additional 4 million Americans with Philippine ancestry, October is also Filipino American History Month. The history of the American people would be incomplete without also sharing the stories and experiences of the Filipino people. Therefore, let's explore more on the history of Filipino Americans, the contributions that they've made to this country, as well as the stories being built by them today. Let's first explore the history of immigration and settlement of Filipinos to this country. As reported by Allison Trinidad in her KCET news article regarding such an issue, the very first settlement of Filipinos to what is now the United States was done 425 years ago in Morro Bay, California, pictured here. This is interesting because this is actually 30 years before the Pilgrims first settled at Plymouth Rock. A couple hundred years later, after the 1848 Spanish-American War, America won the Philippines as its own colony from Spain and would remain so until 1946, when the Philippines would gain its own independence. After this time, many Filipinos would immigrate to the United States in the form largely of agricultural workers and laborers. Now that we've explored how Filipinos got to this country, let's delve a little bit deeper into the contributions that they've made while living here. Now, as previously mentioned, many of the newly formed immigrants of the Philippines to this country were agricultural workers and laborers who were often mistreated and underpaid. Figures such as Larry Itliong were vital in the movement to detract from these struggles, especially attributed to his contribution to the 5-year Delano grape strike, which is often relegated to the likes of Cesar Chavez, whom Larry Itliong actually inspired to join his movement, and not the other way around. There have been also many medical contributions, especially done by Faye Del Mundo, who was the very first Asian woman admitted into Harvard University. Del Mundo is renowned for her works in immunization, as well as providing healthcare to thousands of the poor living in the rural parts of the country. Let's not forget also the countless lives given by Filipino men and women in service of the American flag. Most notable are their contributions to the war effort of World War II during the Japanese invasion of the Philippine Islands, wherein about 500,000 Filipinos would lose their lives as a result of the conflict. Now, let's explore more on the Filipinos of today and their stories being built. As reported by Joanna Badalova of the Migration Policy Institute, there are about 4 million Americans of Filipino descent here today, and they represent the 4th largest immigrant group. Here is a graph showing these immigration trends from 1980 to 2016. Filipinos also make up a sizable workforce of the American economy, especially in the sectors of entertainment, service, and healthcare, where about 1/3 of all foreign-born American nurses are from the Philippines. There have also been many individuals who have earned stardom and been able to showcase their Filipino talent on a larger scale, such as actors Vanessa Hudgens, Rob Schneider, and Lou Diamond Phillips, as well as singers Bruno Mars and Enrique Iglesias, among others, who have now become household names in many American homes. As it stands, the legacy built by Filipinos in terms of their history here, the contributions that they've made, and the legacies being built by them today should never be overlooked. And in closing, salamat, and as Larry Itliong would say, isang bagsak, or as translated into English, if one falls, we all fall. And let that be a reminder that the contributions made by a collective of an individual group may invariably allow for the prosperity of all groups.